Let me know once you are able to see the screen.
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll get started with a new project. App, let's say MVVM demo. Next, desktop, create, done.
Make it the font size.
Yes. Fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. So till now, what we have seen is in our courts application or the other car application that you are building, we have been using MVC, which is the model view controller. So even in MVC, there is a clear segregation of roles. So there is a model which basically is our data model, which replicates our database in the backend. Okay.
Okay.
Then we have our view, which is the user interface that user sees when he launches the application, right? The UI part, the user interface part. And then you have the controller. Controller is someone who will interact with the model to get the data and will configure the view to set up and to configure the data to be displayed on the view. Okay.
Okay.
So we had MVC earlier where we had each role segregation. Now the problem with MVC was the controller was responsible for getting the data from the model
Yeah.
as well as configuring the UI. So populating the data in the UI. So controller used to do both of these things, right?
Yes.
Now there are two challenges here. So this is actually a very common interview question. What is the
Yeah.
difference between MVC and MVVM? And you will have to explain it with like in points. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, but first let me explain you like the concept and then we will see how
Okay.
you can explain in the interview.
Okay.
So what happened was earlier controller was responsible for fetching the data from the model and setting up the data and all, making the API call and the business logic, and also updating the view, controlling, configuring, and controlling the view. So what happened was there are two problems here. The controller classes started becoming huge, right? Maybe 3,000 lines of code, 4,000 lines of code because controller was doing the most of the work. Correct?
Yeah.
Agree? The second problem, the major problem with MVC was that let's say I would like to do unit testing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in unit testing, we have something called code coverage. So what we have to do is there should be all the business logic in one place, and we write all the our test just to make sure that all the functions, the business functions, the business logic is working as expected. So you will be writing unit test for all of those functions. Now
Okay.
in the same class, you have functions for updating the view also. That is not really in scope for unit testing. That is in scope for UI testing, which is again separate. So in one file, you had business logic also, as well as view updates as well, which made it difficult for us to write unit test for and make sure that we have 90% code coverage of our controller, because you will not write unit test for the UI update functions. Okay, you would write only for the business functions and on normally in general functions. Okay,
Okay.
so what with MVC, how exactly MVC solves this problem? What MVC did was, sorry, MVVM. What MVVM did was, MVVM said that no, we have a model, then we have a view, and then we have a view model as well as view controller. So
Okay.
the
Yeah.
view model and view controller together will work very closely as a controller, and view model will do the business logic part, fetching, getting the data from model and doing all the business logic part. The view controller is going to control the view, right? And
Yeah.
so all the view update will be done in the view controller, and all the business logic will happen on the view model. So now
Okay.
there is even a more separate segregation of responsibilities between view model and view controller. So now what happened in the view model, all the business logic started residing, and it became easier to write unit tests because all of that is in one file. I can cover 90% of the coverage of the code coverage because all of the business logic is in one file.
Yeah.
Got it? So what is the difference between MVC and MVVM? MVC is model view controller and MVVM is model view model. MVVM, model view model. In MVC we had only controller which used to manage both the business logic as well as updating the view, but in MVVM the view model is responsible for the business logic and the view controller is responsible for configuring the view. Okay, with MVVM it also became easier to write unit test because all of the business logic is in one place.
Okay.
There is another question also, like what is the key advantage of MVVM over MVC?
Okay.
What is the key advantage? Key advantage is unit test.
Okay.
So one of the key advantages is unit test because you are able to test the business logic thoroughly because all of that is in one place.
Okay.
Okay. In MVC, you will see a lot of places where MVC has been referred to massive view controller also, because the controller started becoming so massive because it did all the work, most of the work, right? But in MVVM we had lesser number of lines per files. I actually in lot of companies, if you go in lot of projects, if you will see, there are really good projects where you will see that each class will have some 200 or maybe 400 lines of code and that's all. Okay, but you will then also see some companies and some projects they where one file has 4,000 lines of code, which is a very bad, extremely, it is a worst coding practice, because there should be a clear segregation of roles. And let's say there is a utility, so you should create a utility class, utility file where you would move all those utility functions at one place that can be used by other modules as well. Then you have extensions. If you would like to add, you should have separate extension files. We will see extensions also going forward, but all of that should be segregated. So even when you will write your code, make sure that you are segregating the files and even the functions. So if you remember, in our first time when we were learning, when we were configuring the core location manager, we did all of that in the view did load only.
Okay.
But when we saw the next time, I created another function called setup location manager. Remember?
Yes.
Why? Because you should always segregate all of those lines of codes inside blocks of code.
Yeah.
Okay, so that it becomes easier. If you have some issue, you will know that okay, this particular function should ideally be responsible for this task. If that task is not working, if that there is a bug, I know that okay, this is the function which may have issues. We have tools like SwiftLint and all, where we have function complexity that is being calculated, the lines of the class is being calculated, all of that is being calculated, and to make sure that we are following those best practices. Okay,
Okay.
fine, understood. MVC MVVM difference.
Yes.
Okay, now let's implement that. Okay, so in any of the projects earlier, I think that I should have MVC. Just a second. Let me just download the MVC project, because that one maybe we can convert it to MVVM. And then going forward, you should use only MVVM. Okay, MVC you already know now.
MVC we will know.
I'm sorry, I said I think reverse. So now going forward, I want you to use only MVVM.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, where is this
We
MVVM?
can use in the table view also, in that collection view that purpose will be used MVC and MVVM, right? Depend on the projects.
No, we will use MVVM. So if you will see projects which have been developed, let's say 6 years back, 8 years back, you may still see MVC, but most of the projects are now migrated to MVVM. So in one project, you will not have both.
Okay, yeah.
So
anyone it depend on, right?
correct, and mostly it will be MVVM.
Yes, right now all are using for the MVVM. right?
Correct.
Before they will
Exactly.
use MVC.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's run this, and let's even the cell should have its own view model. Each and every controller should have its own view model. If we have two screens, both screens should have its own view controller and view model, right?
Inside the table view, in that we need to create a collection view, right? Both
Sorry.
will be one screen, not one screen, or two screens will be used collection and table view.
Okay.
How that one like that will be used for the MVC or MVVM?
MVVM only. So I'll tell you how. That is what I'll cover now. How we can use MVVM for table views.
The collection and like the multiple using for the screen, right? For
Huh.
the row or everything.
Yes.
In that purpose I'm asking.
Oh, in that case, each cell will have its own view model.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got your point. Let's say if you open an application called Zomato, right? You will see that in the same screen, you have a whole table view, and then you will see that there are collection views also where it horizontally scrolling, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there, each and every cell has its own view model.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So then we have this one. We have a simple table view which has a cell which basically is this, and then it has a detail view. Let it be this only. Okay. Let's convert this one now to MVVM. Okay. So now we have view controller. Now if you will see that view controller is only doing, but let's do one thing. I am using this, so I'll just do one thing. First, I'll go to student model, and let's change it to refactor rename. Let's say car model, because it is actually creating confusions. So let's change these. Narrator, refactor rename. Model name is enough. Okay, then so you can develop an app something like an OLX or Quicker, where you can list the cars for sale. Okay, where price, let's say double, no, integer, and then you have images.
No, you will use price double play.
I am not expecting someone to ask 10,000 rupees and 50 paise for a car. So this is why I thought that maybe double we may not need, but okay, let's change it to double. Because let's double, there is no harm. Let's use it double in case there is a decimal, but I'm hoping that no one will actually say that 7 lakh and 25. Okay, actually it can be double, because let's say, okay, no, I think only for displaying it will be, but mostly even when it will be listed on the databases, it will just be numbers. So you can take it, but yeah, you can take double as well. Okay, but actually it's a good question. Fine, it can be either. So then you have images, car images, and then price, brand, model name. Anything else?
No, so that.
That should be enough. Let's say one more. Where, and then let's say kilometers driven, because that is something which is important. And then where description we don't need. Kilometers driven, year, make year. Okay, this one is also important, and this one will use date.
Yeah, so that.
Okay, make, just say make, or registration. Actually, date might be an overhead for you to manage, because date will have all of that uh, timestamp and all. We
Yes.
actually don't need. We just need the year of manufacturing. So again, this one depends. Date might be an overhead. You might use string or you might use date. Again, depends. So a lot of these things are driven by business logic.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So for now, let's use a string only. We will use the date a lot when we will work on priority application. Okay, so we have car, and then let's change this to okay, and then get car details, and then this one is car model, and then here let car1 is equals to car model, and then here. Okay, I will just enter some random values.
Okay.
You make this correct. Okay,
Okay.
I'll just use some random values for now. I don't want to like spend time writing this car1, car2 and car3, and here I'll just mention some random, or maybe just nothing.
Okay.
Okay, let's remove this car2, car3. Okay, so there is actually no data. We can configure one particular item, but we can do that later. And then we have this one is done, and then we have view controller. View controller, let's go back and see. We don't need these. Okay, and then we have cars, and then you will say cars is equals to get car details, and then all of these things we will do. Let's remove these, and then this should be cars.count, correct?
Yes.
And height is fine, 110.
Okay.
And I'll also want you to develop an app which is very similar to an actual app. So if I will have to open let's say OLX app, iPhone app, I would like you to design also very similar to this one. Okay,
Okay.
see,
Yes.
see, design something like this.
Okay.
Okay, so this one will be your image, then this will be car name, model name, and then the price.
Yes.
Okay, and if you click on this, then you can show the additional details.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can also go for a better UI also. So
Yeah. First,
anything.
this one will take in the table view, right?
Correct, correct,
Yeah, we need
and
to create a cell also.
correct. So you will have a custom cell as well,
Yeah, custom cell.
right? And then see, this one is the categories. If you see, this one is a collection view, where we say basically
Yes.
these are
Yeah.
categories.
Categories.
Okay, so anything you explore a couple of designs, and then try
Okay.
to make sure that your design also looks somewhat similar to an actual app.
Okay.
Okay, okay, fine. So then this is fine, this is done. Let's build. Fine. Now what we will do, instead of doing everything in the view controller, we will create a view model now. Okay, we are creating a Swift file, not a Cocoa Touch file. Okay,
Yes, view model, right? Yeah.
yeah, it is a view model. So I'll say car view model. I will say car list view model. Why am I saying car list view model?
Because we need to store it.
Because there will be a car detail screen as well, and even that will need a view model.
Yes.
So I can't really say just car view model, that will create confusion. So car list view model, car detail view model, like that we will go. Okay, car list view model. I am doing the view model part for car list. You will do the view model part for car details.
Okay.
Okay, that I will not do. Okay, similar lines you should do car details.
Okay, same thing, card details and okay.
Ha, similarly. So what we will do in our view controller, we will not fetch all the car details. View controller now, what is the role of a view controller? Tell me.
Like um, business logic, like it is taking
View
the model.
controller. I am
Yeah,
asking. Ha, tell me.
the controller of the view and one screen to another screen.
No, no. I am asking what is the use of view controller? What is the responsibility of the view controller? To configure the view.
Yes, okay.
What is the responsibility of the view model?
Yes.
No, I'm asking what is the responsibility of the view model?
View model, like it's getting the data store.
No. So if anyone will
Store the
ask you,
data stores in the model.
no, you can say to handle the business logic.
Okay,
Okay.
handle the business
So
model.
business logic is for view model and configuring the view is the view controller. Okay. So any of actually you are right, whatever you are saying, but as I told you, when I'm asking questions in an interview,
Yeah.
I am looking for those keywords.
Yeah.
So if you will say business logic is handled by view model, I know that you know.
Yes.
Okay. Because if you are saying right that to get the data from view model, that is not the only work of view model, right? View model will have to write all the business logic also,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so then so view controller will only configure the view, so view controller will not have access to the data. Who fetches the data?
View model.
View model, correct, very good. View model fetches the data, so this part will not be there in the view controller.
Yes.
Okay, all the car details will not be part of the view controller. This one will move to view model. Okay, so now we'll go back. We have already created a structure called car list view model. Here we will start creating the functions which the view controller will need. Okay, so func. Then we'll say car list view model func get car. Okay, before that, in our view controller, in our number of rows in section, it will require cars.count.
Yes.
So I will have to pass the cars to the view controller, and I don't want to pass the cars, the entire data source. So I can ask so all now going forward, view controller will ask all the details from the view model. Okay.
Yes.
So how many cars count should be there? View controller should ask the view model. Okay. So view model should have a function called get cars count. It should return integer, and this should return whatever. So I'm just for now I'm just writing 5, but let's do that. Okay, so then I'll say yeah, private where I was just thinking like can we do private, and I was just thinking like that. So okay, so private where, because I don't want the all the cars to be accessed by the view controller, so I'm making this private now. Okay,
I have
where
one question here.
yeah.
What is the private? The when will be used on the functionality in that code?
Private, huh?
Yeah.
I will use private when I do not want any variable or a function to be accessed outside this class. So I don't want my view controller to access the cars directly.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I want whatever view controller needs I will give, but I don't want the entire data source to be given to the view controller. So I'm using
Okay,
private.
this part will become in access control, right? Public, private,
Correct, you are
and
right. So this is again a very important interview question.
yeah, they will be asked what is the difference between public and private.
What is default?
Yeah,
What is
default
default?
is internal.
Absolutely right. I'm very happy that you said that.
Yeah,
By
that
default,
I'm
it is.
fully prepared. Laws. Many times they're asked for the default
Yeah,
access which one.
this is an interview question. So default is internal.
Internal.
So I will cover access specifiers because there are many. So we have internal, private, public. Then we have open. Then we have file private.
Yes, file. Yeah.
So then they will ask, there's also another interview question. What is the difference between public and open?
Yes, public and open.
Okay,
Yes.
private and public is actually quite like obvious. So mostly they will not ask. They will ask maybe difference between private and file private, like
Yes.
that. So basically you need. So I will cover all of that because that again will require some discussions, and I will also have to show you in the code how all of that works.
Yes,
But
that
remember
I
this.
didn't know that. Only theoretically I know,
Yeah,
and practically I didn't.
correct. So this is why I will cover separately with the coding examples on all of these access specifiers. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. So private I'm using because I don't want cars to be accessed outside my structure view model. Okay.
Okay, understood.
Now I'll say get cars count and I'll say return cars dot count. You know, with the latest version of Swift, if I just have one line of code in a function, I don't need to put return.
I'm not getting, sir.
This line of code is also valid. What you are seeing.
Cast dot count, right?
Yeah, without return. Usually I'll say return, no?
Yes.
But see, even this will work. Let me build.
Yeah, depend on the version they will be.
Correct. So latest Swift version 5, you don't need to write return if the number of lines of code in a given function is only one. So if
Yes.
for one line of functions, you don't need return. Okay, fine. So then you have cars.count and then get car for index. I'll say index, which is int, and then here I will say cars index, and this should return car model. Done. Now I will explain you why do we need this. Okay.
Okay.
We will need this in the self row, and this one we'll need in the number of rows. Okay, then what else? I can also ask my view model, let where screen title, and here this one also I can configure. So I can say where let, oh sorry, let screen title is equals to, and I'll say car. Okay, no, maybe something like
Company models you can use.
or yeah, maybe models or something.
Yes,
Okay,
models.
or car list, something like that. Okay, whatever, you can change it
Okay.
later. This also I will ask the view model only. I'll ask view model what should be my screen title. Everything view controller will now start asking from the view model. Okay, now I'll go back to my view controller and I'll say here, I'll say I don't think that I have navigation controller. Do I have a navigation controller here? Okay, let's
Yes,
add a
we have.
navigation. No, I don't have, right? Navigation controller I need.
Yes. Okay.
So I embed in navigation controller, embed in navigation controller. Done. Then fine. I think this is fine. Then here I have car
Why we
list.
need to use the navigation control without you can give the first screen access, right? Initial control we can give like.
No, I can't. So see,
Okay.
I'll show you. I'll show you. It was like this.
Yeah, we can one screen to will the schedule it will be used right for the multiple screens.
I cannot navigate from one screen to another screen using without a navigation.
Okay.
Okay. So I can see. I'll show this. Let me run. Let me explain you. See, if now I'm typing on Skoda Kushaq, see, I can see a new screen, but
Yes.
actually I have not left the older screen. See, older screen is still there.
Okay. That okay.
Correct? I'm not navigating from one screen to another screen. I am presenting another screen over my current screen. These two things are separate. Now, if I will add this, a navigation controller, now let's see what happens. Okay, now let's see what happens. Run. I'm not changing anything else. I'm just embedding the navigation controller. Okay. Click on this. See, I'm going to a different screen now. That the earlier screen is gone.
Yes.
I'll have to press back to come to this screen. Correct?
Yes,
So this is actually a navigation. Okay, from one screen to another. Fine. So then this is fine. This is done. Now I'll go back to my view controller, and then I will firstly I will say firstly I will create a no. So I will not have cars. Okay, I will create where view model. What is my view model name? Hmm?
Car model.
Car list view model.
Car list model. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. We can either use optional or we can create a object here. Okay. Then I let's give let, and then we'll see if required we'll move it back to where. Then I'll say screen title. So self dot title is equals to our view model dot screen title. Got it?
Yes.
Then I'll go down, and here I'll say cars dot count. What will I say? Tell me.
Here view model, I think car view model list.
View model dot
count.
get cars count.
Get cars count.
View model has a function called get cars count.
Yes.
Correct? Which returns cars dot count.
Cars dot.
Then here I have these strings. Now I will say let car model is equals to view model dot get car for index, and what will I pass here? Tell me. What should I pass here? What is my index?
Index.
What should I pass here to get the car for a particular index?
Index path only. Index path dot row.
Awesome, Sneha. Very good. Index path dot row.
Dot row. Yes.
Very good. Okay. Then I will say car model I already have. Then I will say cell dot text label dot text is equals to car model dot whatever. Okay. No, not text label. I don't think it is text label. Let's see what labels we have.
We are using cell, right? In then.
Yeah. So these labels we have, no?
Yes.
So whatever, car dot car model name
model
label dot
text
is opposed to car model dot whatever brand name brand name model name. Fine. Return cell. You can configure it based on you. So UI you can change. So now if you will see, I don't have the car array in my view controller. Correct?
Not getting
car array. Do you have the car array in your view model? You don't have list of all the cars in your view controller.
Yeah.
You have it in your view model. So cars is only there in the view model. Now, if you remember, we had car data manager, correct?
Yes.
Who will access my car, get car details?
Yes.
Who will call this function?
Car model in the call.
Who will call this function?
Car data manager.
No, this is data manager only, no? Who will call this function?
Car model only.
Car model, huh? Car model is this one. This structure will call this function.
This will be yes. This car model will be called get car details.
No. Earlier, who was calling? Where are we? Where we were calling get car details?
View controller.
Correct. Earlier we were calling this in the view controller. Now where we should call?
Model view controller.
Sorry?
Model view controller.
What is model view controller? Okay. Earlier where we were calling this get car details?
Yeah, view controller. Only.
In the view controller.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Where we should call now?
In the model view control only, we need to
What is model view controller? I'm not getting. What is model? What when you say model view controller, what do you mean?
or something. I'm getting.
Okay, earlier who was calling this function again? View controller?
Yes, view
Which
controller.
view controller? With this view controller?
No. Yes, here only we call that function.
Here only we were calling this function,
Yes.
but now we are in MVVM.
Yes,
So
MVVM.
in MVVM, who should call the
View
data?
controller we here also view controller la.
Okay. In MVVM, who fetches the data? The data, the business part, who does? The data, who fetches the data in MVVM?
Model only.
Model?
Model view.
View model.
View, yes.
So where is my view model?
View model we are in the view controller.
Now I'm not understanding what you're saying. Same. Okay, I'm asking very simple question. There is a function called get card details.
Yes,
I should
can
call
be.
this function or somewhere. I
Yes,
should
would be.
where I should call. This is my question.
Um,
Where should I go? Where which file I should go? Where should I call?
1 second, I'm not able to see. Car list view control.
Car list, view model, view controller, car
Yes.
list, view model, car data manager, custom car cell. Where should I call this function?
Car list view model.
Why?
Because we
Why car list view model?
uh, because we are given the screen the display on the right.
Okay.
All the data like functions will be calling in the view controller only.
In the view
View model.
model. Correct.
View model.
Correct. So all the data part will be done in the view model. All the
Yes.
data fetching from a data source, all of that will be done. So let's say you have an API call. That calling part you will do in the view model. The business logic part, the data fetching part, you should do in your view model because it is the
Yes.
MVVM that we are studying. So this function where you should call in your view model.
View
Correct?
model.
What is your view model name? It is car list view model.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So here we will say, let's write one function called fetch cars, and here we will say whatever. What is this? Car data manager.
Data manager.
Dot get
Dot
car
get
details.
got it.
Got it right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then is unused. So now here I will say cars equal to this
Dot.
one.
Yes. Cars equal to.
Okay. So now cell dot cars car data manager get car details. Okay. Okay. So basically, I have mentioned something like cars here, and then from a function, I'm trying to update it. So it is asking you to use mutating.
Okay.
Okay, so it's okay. Don't worry too much on the mutating. There are a lot of keywords that we need to check. Mutating, then in closures, we have escaping, non escaping. These again,
Yes.
we will see. These are all interview questions, and we will cover. Okay, don't worry. So now for now, because we are changing cars, we are saying mutating means something that we can change.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have fetch. Okay, and then what we can do, do you know the concept of initializers?
Initializers.
Like this in it, initializers.
The,
No. Okay, we'll see that. So here we will say fetch car details, fetch cars. Okay, let's build first. I'll tell you why are we using in it. Okay, then okay. So what basically is initializer? So what happens is, okay, again, the question: who is creating an instance of car list view model?
We are getting who is creating.
Who is creating the instance of car list view model? Car list view model object is being created here. See.
Yes, we control V. Yeah.
So here it is getting created.
Yeah.
So what I want is whenever the view model instance is created, I want something to happen. I want some data and all to be managed or whatever. So if I want something like that, if I want something like whenever you will create an object of my class, if I want something to happen, then I will use init. So in this function will be called when when this line of code will be executed. So at line number 12, this line of code is going to execute this line of code in it, and inside this whatever is there, it will get executed. So whenever you will call this, whenever you will call this, no,
okay,
my fetch cars will be called. My fetch cars will actually set my self dot cars.
Okay.
And now because of this, will have cars dot count and cars dot index. I'm sorry, I mean cars will be initialized. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll go back here and let's put some data here because you will not actually see any data. Kushak, let's say Skoda price, let's say 20. And then what happened? Okay, this is the for only for display. And then images you can manage, kilometers driven, I will say 12,000, and registration year I will say 2022. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, I'll just quickly city, brand name is Honda, price is 9 lakh, kilometers driven is 25,000, registration I'll say 2015, I'll say 50,000. And then here car model Honda Kushak, Honda City, and let's say Taigun. Let's say VW, and then price is 22, 25, and then kilometers driven again let's say 9,000, and registration again 2022, or let's say 23. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'll go back here in my view controller and let's run and let's see what happens. So so now I'm getting see Honda City, Kushak, Taigun. I'm getting actually from here. I am only setting the car model name. I'm not setting the other values. This you can do, no?
Okay.
Okay. Let's do one thing.
No, we are not.
Okay, no, let's do one thing. Here also, what we will do in car custom class, we will create a function called configure cell. Okay, this one will have car model, and then here I will say car model name dot text equal to car model dot model name. Then we have brand label dot text equal to car model dot brand name, and then you have price label. See, now everything, nothing is there in the view control. These things also we were doing a view controller first, correct?
Yes.
This also we are moving to the cell class only. We are saying car model dot price. Now price is integer, I think, so we will say like this. But I need commas also, okay, and then I need this one also, rupees. I need rupees, okay, here. So then
So here one thing, how to in the display name with the name equal to some Honda name.
I didn't
How
get
we
you.
can when the display the screen, right?
Huh.
We are only given the name, it will become Honda.
Okay.
With I need name dot in the Honda. We need to like the display. How
Okay.
we can here
Okay. 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 I got it. So then like this.
interpolation, right? We
Correct.
may
Correct.
use.
Correct. Name colon and then here I'll say car model dot model name. This is what you are saying, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will remove this.
Yeah.
Car model dot model name. And then image. Car image view dot image is equals to UI image named, and then I'll say car model dot images is actually an array, so I'll just use first.
Yes.
I am expecting some optional issue here. Yeah. So what we will do, we will use an if let here. If let image name is equals to car model dot images dot first image name. Okay. Now I will go back to my view controller, and now I don't need to do all of this also. I'll just say car model I already got, so I'll say cell dot configure
Configure.
configure cell, and then I will return car model. That's it.
Yes.
So now if you will see how this, see, in just 36-37 lines of code, this is done. My view controller is done, and all of this now has been moved to its separate
Separate.
places. Right now, let's run. Okay, image is not there. That's why it is not coming.
Okay.
Okay, so Skoda, and then we have this one. What I would want you to do is make sure that this is looking better, and then this one I want you to say something like rupees, and then
Okay.
something like this. Maybe you can check in other applications how they are displaying the price, and then display
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
Okay, you don't display like this, fine.
Yeah.
So then you are already developing the car application, so develop
Yes.
like this using
So
MVVM like this. Okay.
okay.
And then what I want you to do is, so now this we understood how are we using MVVM now.
Yes.
We are gradually moving all of that. So see, if now I have to do a unit test, see, my view model is so less, and now if I have to do a unit test, these are my business logic functions. Now if there is any configuration also, let's say that I would like to uh, any, there might be any business. Okay, so let's say I have something called sorting and filtering. I would like to filter based on the price, or I would like to filter based on the brand name. I want to see only Honda cars.
Okay.
Or I would like to sort based on the car price, sort high to low or low to high based on the car price. All of that is business function, is a business logic, correct?
Okay.
Where we will write that?
In the model.
In the
Model view model.
in the view model, not model. See, when you say model,
View
right,
model.
you are referring this one.
Yes. Yeah.
So not model. What?
View model.
View model. So in the car list view model, we will handle our sorting, filtering, all of that as well. Okay. What I would suggest you is you actually go ahead and implement filter and sort also, because that will again be a bit complex, and I want you to start doing those complex features now.
I'm not getting, sir.
Okay, I'll run. I want you to implement filtering and sorting.
Filtering it's
Yeah, so here in this here, I want a filter button here and a sorting button here.
okay.
If I click on sort, okay, so filtering you leave it. We'll do one by one. You do sorting. Okay,
Yes.
add one button here. Okay, that
When
arrow button.
when I click to it will come the filter with which one is low, like.
Yeah, it will sort based on the price, high to low, low to high.
Okay, that will be button will be create. We need to give the in the controller only, right? We controller.
Yeah, the button handling will be in the view controller, and the sorting logic will be happen here.
Yes. Okay. The logic. Yeah.
Okay, so again, let's check here. Sort image. Sort icon. See, you will use this one.
Okay.
Okay,
Go.
and then if you, yeah, it is high to low, low to high, both, right?
Yes.
Add one button here. What button type you will add? You will add a bar button item.
But okay.
Okay, and then on tapping on this one, you will sort. If you are able to do sort, I will be very happy. Okay, but and this is very complex. I understand, but I want you to start doing the complex things as well.
Okay.
Okay, and then I am there, no, to help.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Sir.
Okay, so then you complete this application. So what we will do uh, today, or is it possible for you to spend some time today on this app, or tomorrow is also fine, whatever. Okay, you take your time, but then what I want you to develop is, I want you to have this function, this screen with this one car image should come here. Okay, this one should be displayed properly.
Okay.
Okay, then if I click, I should be able to see a car details, where here I should be able to see all the images. I should be able to scroll all the images.
Okay.
So one car can have
Here
multiple
the
images,
next
no?
screen we need to scrolling, right?
Correct. Here you can, here you just one image will be there. If I click on this, here I should be able to scroll all the car images.
Okay.
Not getting?
Yes, I got. In this image also we need to scroll, right?
Yeah, image only should scroll.
Okay.
So from here to here, you should have something like a pagination where you can scroll the images. Okay, and then in bottom here you should write the all the other details: car make, car price, brief info, oh, who is the owner, whatever. Okay, complex or easy?
Little bit complex. I will try to that.
Yeah, but then it will be good, no? Only with complex things actually you will
Yes.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah? Car image carousel. We actually call it carousel.
Here this and the next screen, whatever we need like label, right? We need to write give it the label, right?
Where?
Here screen the image down,
Below
right?
what? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Below there will be labels.
all the this will be connect to the view controller only, right?
Directly the view. You don't need table view here.
Only view.
Correct. No need for table view here. Okay. Uh, what do I need? Some really cool apps actually I want you to develop. Okay, you should be proud that by the
Yeah,
end of the course, this is what I have developed. Okay,
yeah.
I really want you to develop some really complex and really cool apps. I want you to put it in LinkedIn and GitHub, and then I want you to showcase that this is what I have learned. I have done a course, and these are the applications that I have built. Basic applications anyone can build.
Okay, yes, yes.
Okay, you can explore some this one. Okay, car this carousel thing. and then you can see. You can actually see in any of the that OLX app also. OLX app. Okay, see here. You can, okay, this is the what I was looking for. See, if you see, there are three dots here, right?
Yeah.
It means that there are three images. If you scroll, no, it you can see the next image. If you
Yes.
scroll again, you can see the next image. Then you see it says 85 lakhs,
Yeah.
correct? And here it says rupee symbol and then comma and then this part, right? So you
Yes.
can choose either of these two, but not how we are displaying now. See, we are displaying something like this, no? You should
Yeah.
display something like this.
Okay.
From database, you may get this only.
Mm-hmm.
This is only for displaying.
Okay.
Okay, and then see, fully furnished, something like this, whatever. So this, like this, you can implement. Okay,
Okay.
you I can say pagination, iOS app images, and then go to images, and then okay, you can explore. I'm sure that you will get a better design. Okay, check for some designs, and then you got it. No, what is the expectation? What I'm
Yeah.
expecting? Okay,
Yeah.
so then you try to implement that, and then in your detail view controller, you should also have used MVVM. So your detail view controller should so okay. So now what you should do? This one you should rename editor, refactor, rename, and this one I'll say car list view controller. So see, now I okay, car list, it should be car list view controller. Car list view controller. So see, my car list view controller, car list view model. Similarly, you will add two more car details view controller and car details view model.
Yes. In
Okay,
using the MVCs, right?
MVVM, no, there is view
Yeah.
model, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you will create car details view model, and then all of your business logic will happen in view model.
I need to create one, two file, right?
Yeah, you should create two files.
View model and
Yeah, little so like this view controller. Why it is not filtering? Yeah, car detail, car details, nahi detail, car detail view controller, create, and then you will create one more Swift file, car detail view model. Each screen will have both. Okay,
okay.
and then I have this one. So what we will do then? We will create something like this. We will do grouping. New group
Okay. And this and all we need to whatever this car model will be going in the
model.
view model, right?
Model car, that car model will go inside the your model. We have
Model.
model, view model, and view control. Okay, I'll show you, don't worry. So then you have view, uh, groups from selection, view. These two will be part of your view. This is your model, and then you have view controller, and so the folder structure also in some projects, what you will see, folders are based on the screens.
Yes. Yes.
So car list will have these two and car detail will have these two. Or you can do like this also. So this one and this one will go into your view models, new group from selection.
View model.
And this one and this one will go inside your view controller. Okay, and then okay, and then data manager also you can put it inside your model only. And then car custom car, this one you will create another one called custom cells.
Yes.
So your end project should look something like this.
Hmm.
Okay, and then in lot of projects you will see that car list will be one folder, car details will be another folder. So that is also another way of creating folders. We will do both ways. Okay, but your end application should look like this. It should be very presentable. You should be able to show this to recruiters and say that this is what I have developed. This is my GitHub link. You can explore and you can review the code that I have written. Okay, fine. You will, by when you will be able to complete. I am not expecting you to complete the car scrolling. Okay, because that will take time. Apart from that car scrolling thing, how much time you think you will need for this app?
Need to complete the tomorrow.
Sorry?
Tomorrow I will complete it.
You will be able to complete them by tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then try to complete it tomorrow, and then tomorrow again we will meet. Tomorrow, okay, I'll stop this.